Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raymond and today we're going to go over filing your Hawaii State GET for both Lyft and Uber drivers. So you can see here I have the earnings details of a random Lyft driver here pulled up. I just found this on Google image search, so it's not anyone's personal or my client's personal earnings or anything. Same thing with Uber here. I have the breakdown as well. So let's go ahead and start with Uber actually. And I'm going to pull up this spreadsheet here. I highly recommend that you keep track of your earnings through a spreadsheet or Google Docs, something like that, because it can get a little hairy otherwise. So if you drive for Uber and Lyft, you'll definitely want to use a spreadsheet. Now you can see I have different colors here, and those colors represent the different tax rates. So anything in the blue is going to be taxed at 0.5% wholesale rate. Anything in the orangish color here is going to be the 4.5% rate, or 4% in Maui, because they don't charge the surcharge in Maui County. Alright, so Uber right here. You can see we got trip earnings, cancel earnings, promotions, and tips as the categories. Uber did not have any cancel earnings, so that's 0. Trip earnings, $1645.35. I just put it here. Promotions, $70. They're called bonuses in Lyft, and I'll show you that in just a moment as well. And then you got your tips right here, $291.65, $291.65. Go back to Lyft here, pull it back up. All right, so you'll see that the trip earnings is a little bit different, and I'll show you the calculation in just a moment. You got tips here of 87. Bonuses is $79.91, which is also promotions as I mentioned. And then cancel earnings. Now cancel earnings is something that drivers get, in case you're new to Lyft or Uber, it's something the drivers get for going to a customer and waiting at their destination or a pickup destination for 5 minutes or longer, and then they decide to cancel the ride and collect a little bit of money. For that, the customer is charged and also charged GET. That's why it's at the wholesale rate, and that's why it's at the wholesale rate for all 3 categories here. So all of these top 4 lines here, except for tips, they charge the customer and they charge GET to the customer for these items. So it's not your responsibility to pay the full GET of 4.5%. Let's see here, tips. Those are brought down here because they do not charge GET to the customer on tips. So tips are your responsibility to pay the full 4.5%. Just pull it over here, 4.5%. Now, if they ever require the tip from the customer, if it's ever required, then it's no longer your responsibility. So if Uber says to the customer they have to pay a certain tip amount, they should also charge GET on it, but even if they don't, it is their responsibility for paying the full GET, at which point you would only pay 0.5% GET for that tip. As it stands, that is not the case for Uber and Lyft drivers, but just in case it ever does happen. The difference here, I wanted to point that out, is the 251648, as you can see in my calculation here, minus the 630.36 here in Lyft fees. Now, the only reason why that calculation is allowed in this case, for one, I started driving Lyft. I had never seen things Lyft fees. However, if they do charge Lyft fees, let's say they charge or they pay you this $25.16 first, then they take this money back after they've deposited this into your account, then you would actually have to pay 0.5% GET for the full $25.16. However, Lyft does not do that. They take this out first and then pay you this. So you do not pay the 0.5% for the amount that you don't receive, because you never got this money, and you only pay GET on the actual money you get from the company. Otherwise, you're not really getting that money. Now, you can see I added everything up here. Everything in blue, this is the total. Everything in orange, this is the total. And this is all of it right here. So let's go ahead and go to the Hawaii Tax Online website. We'll start with the G45 here. Once you log in from hightax.hawaii.gov, you log in through the login screen and it'll take you to this page. You'll come down here, Make sure it's G45, not the G49 down here. You go to File Now. It's a little early because I'm on a semi-annual basis, so mine's not due until July 31st, actually August 20th of 2022. But let's see, this is just a bunch of fluff, basically. No, it's got some important stuff in here, but main thing is to notice that it'll affect you now is the 15 minutes of inactivity. It'll log you out. So let's go ahead and hit next. Now this is where you pick your district. Most of us it'll be Oahu. Some of you will be Maui. Make sure you select Maui if you're in Maui. Kauai and Hawaii districts also have the same rates as Oahu. This question here, I don't know anyone that splits their income with these guys, these people. It is asking though, do you split your income for any of the following income sources? So I would just hit no and then next. Now granted, this walkthrough is just strictly if you work for Lyft and Uber. If you have other side business stuff, you're going to need to know more than just what's in this video, but this is specifically for the Lyft and Uber side of your life, basically. So this is going to be part one. Part one is your wholesaling activity that is charged at a 0.5% rate. And it says for Oahu that is not true. This is for the state of Hawaii. Part one is 0.5% for state of Hawaii. Oahu is on the next 3 pages, or no, two of the next 3 pages are parts. So part 2 and 4 are Oahu. Let's go ahead and pull up the Excel sheet here. Now, what you're going to put in the wholesaling here is the full amount of $37.0138, and I'm going to put it in wholesale services because it is a service that you provide as a driver. Next. Now, tips are going to go in this section. Part 2 is the full 4% for the state. Also, it should say state, not Oahu. Oahu never receives 4%, but it's all right. Well, we'll let it slide. Hawaii government. So let's go ahead and pull that number. And that is going to go into the services section here because you got those tips for a service. Next. This is part 3. This will not pertain to most of you, like nearly all of you. This is for insurance salespeople. They get a special rate because of all the heavy regulations and certain fees that have to be paid, and they're obligated to pay on every commission without any type of exemption. So the local government decided it was only fair that they give them a lower rate. So that's what that's for. You can skip that. Here we go. Part 4 is the Oahu County Surcharge. So this actually is for Oahu. However, there is no Oahu County. It's Honolulu County. So still just a couple of little edits that could be done here. The Oahu surcharge is actually 0.5%, the same as the wholesale rate, but it is only for anything that is taxable at the full rate. So the wholesale 0.5% here, you will not be charged by Oahu or Honolulu County for that 0.5%, but you will be charged for this 4%. Anything that is claimed in this 4% will also be charged here. And this is going to be your breakdown page. So you got, and I'm going to go over part 4 in a second because obviously they're missing some columns here. Part 1 is the full 4%, or I'm sorry, I apologize, the 0.5% for the wholesaling activity, 37.0138, 0.5% here, and then 18.51 is how much you're going to end up paying for that revenue. For the tip revenue, you got your 4%, and then 15.15. This is what the state gets. This is the insurance line, insurance salesperson line. You're not going to worry about that. This line should also have 378.65 and then a 0.5%. That way you could tell what this 189 came from. But just know that that is what it's from. It's from 0.5% of this 378.65. And then they total it all up for you, of course, 35.55. You'll hit next. Alrighty, and here is the full summary page. And just scroll down, make sure everything looks good, make sure your county is correct, or district. Okay, you're going to hit next. And actually, let's go back to that penalty. I want to point that out real quick. So for the penalties, if you are late in filing, there will most likely be a penalty. However, you don't want to just calculate it yourself and enter it here. You want to file first and then go back the next day, next business day, and check your account like it says here. Go back in, check your notifications, and see if they tagged a penalty to you. And if so, just go ahead and pay it immediately, because it's 5% per month that you're late for the first 5 months. Next, I'm going to go to the submission page. Okay, this is a submission page, and this is where I'm going to stop. But I do want to show you, if you click yes for ACH, it's going to give you the opportunity to put in your bank information, and then you can just pay through ACH instead of credit card and paying the extra fee through credit card. Now, we've gone over the full G45 here. Make sure you do hit submit. Make sure you go back and you check to see if it has been paid. And the way you'll do that is, I'm just going to go ahead and hit cancel, but you'll go back to the main screen. This is the screen right after you log in, and then you're going to go into periods and returns, and you'll just click on the one that you last filed. And if you had to pay anything, it'll be in the summary section right here. It'll show how much you were supposed to pay, and then it'll say credit, and then how much you actually did pay. So make sure there's something in that credit field. For the G49, I just have a 0 return, so I'm going to go ahead and show you my other account, because I rented out my car on Turo and made just a little bit of money. It's the same scenario basically, just without the opportunity for tips. So it's the 0.5% rate as well. Yep, here we go. Just want to make sure. All right, I'm going to go to the December 2021. And again, this is just for your annual return. So what the annual return is for is usually just information only. However, if there's a discrepancy, say there's a difference in what you paid and what you should have paid, this is where you're going to file that and pay it as well, or claim the refund, in which case they'll send you a check in the mail or however it's set up. All right, so I'm going to view, since I don't have one available for me to walk you through, I'm just going to go back in and amend one. By amending, I can show you the questions that it's going to ask. Okay, so this is the same as G45 here. Next here is you pick your district. Now the difference is this right here, the did you make payments during the tax year, are the total payments made less any refunds received for the tax year greater than 0. I would hit yes every time regardless. But if you know for sure it matches, then you would just hit no, no big deal. But hit yes, and the reason why is because it frees up a field that you can edit later. If you hit no, then it locks that field up for you. That's the only difference between hitting yes and no at this point. All right, so next, you'll see I put in the wholesale services, 573. You'll see nothing here because I did no regular activity, no insurance activity. Let's see here, Oahu Surcharge, I didn't do regular activity, so you're not going to see anything there either, but when you have tips, you'll definitely see numbers there. Basically, you're just going to go all the way through, make sure that the numbers match. Going to, let's see, okay, here we go. The total payments made less any refunds received for the year. That's where you're going to type in this number, and this is the field that I was saying will lock up if you don't hit yes in the beginning. So 2.87. Otherwise, it's going to be locked up like this field, where you can't really change anything. So if the amount is different, let's go ahead and change this to a 1. It should calculate for you here. Yep, it'll calculate for you here and tell you how much you actually owe. So that's how much you owe. Then you would hit submit, and hopefully pay your differences after that. So that's all I have for this video, and I appreciate you watching all the way through. If you guys need any help with this, feel free to ask questions in the comment boxes down below or the comment section. And if you have questions about a different line of business, then also feel free to ask me some questions. I don't mind helping out a little bit here. If it's really detailed, then I also do provide services for a fee. However, I will try my best to help you at the free level here if it's quick and easy. All right, thank you very much and have a great day.